Hey, what's cracking? How are you doing today? I hope this video has found you doing well. I hope today you're on top of the world. But as I always say at the beginning of my videos, if you haven't started off the day picking up your blessings, thinking about the way that you're blessed, things that you're thankful for, and today's not going your way, I like to ask you before we get started on the video to push pause and stop and try to think of a few ways that you're blessed in your life, to change a channel like you would if you were listening to a song on the radio you didn't like, and you would just change the channel. And so we like to do that here at the beginning. If you just push pause, think of a few ways you're blessed, and that changes your perspective on the day. And a lot of times if you change the perspective, it'll change the way your day goes. If this is the first time you've watched one of my videos, my name is Ricky Dye, and I went to prison when I was 15 years old, and I was there for 20 and a half years, all the roughest places. And so I've been trying to use that experience and share it here, and a little of what I went through, or all of what I went through. I've started at the beginning. If you go back to my videos, you can start at the very beginning, and you'll find out about my crime, what happened, what caused it to happen, and everywhere I've been going through it a step at a time. And I want to jump right back into this story today. But before I do, I want to say that my last video, I thought because I put it up on a Friday morning instead of Thursday like I usually do, this video will go up on Sunday night or Monday morning. The next one I'll put up Wednesday night or Thursday morning. Well, usually if you put one up on a Friday and then go into the weekend, that video really suffers because people look at things more, it seems like, Monday through Friday during the work week than they do on the weekends. And I told my wife I was going to go ahead and put that video up Friday. The tornado set it off a day. And I said, but it'll probably really hurt the video. But the video has so far took #1 of all the videos I've put up. It had 540 views when I started this. And my subs have went up. My subscribers here on YouTube have went up to 246. I need 1,000 for YouTube will start paying me for the commercials they run before, during, and after. Or if you're a premium YouTube subscriber, they'll give me extra if you view one of my videos. So I need to get up to 1,000 subs. If you've already hit it, thank you so much, man. I really appreciate you subscribing. Everyone who's sharing it on their social medias, I appreciate that even more, because the most important thing here is that these videos get shared with the right kid, the right young person, any person, regardless of their age, who may be thinking about committing a crime and doing something wrong. I'm hoping that you'll listen to some of what I went through, and maybe that will deter you and change your mind. And maybe you'll have a better outlook at the end of this video on your own life. So I want to jump right back into my story. And I'm now on Seaside in maximum security. I've went from the orientation unit, which is the F-cell house, to C unit. C unit is basically general population at maximum security in McAllister. So what C unit is it's a huge building. Okay, there's a rotunda. It's called a rotunda in the middle, or the cop shack. Okay, well, what it is it's a huge room. And in this room, it's covered all the way around. It's surrounded by plexiglass. So the guards have a big control panel in there, one that controls C1, which is C1, the day room, C1. Each day room has around 75, 80 people in it. It has somewhere between 35 and 50 cells, 40 cells maybe. So somewhere between 75 and 80 people in those, 2 in each cell. C1, there's C2, C3, and C4. So 4 huge day rooms on this one building. And in the center is this big office where the guards can walk around inside there and look into any day room, or they can walk over and hit the buttons for any day room to pop the cell doors, to pop the doors that connect it. There's doors that connect the day rooms so the orderlies and the guards can go through to walk around and count or to clean and stuff. So the only people who are able to get out of their cells are the people who are the run men, or the orderlies, or the guys who keep the cells, the runs clean. They serve your food. You're locked down. Your meals are brought to you. You're locked inside a door. There's a bean hole in your door. It's called a bean hole. It's a slot that's about a foot long, maybe, and about 4 or 5 inches tall. And it is usually locked with it's part of the steel door. It's a steel plate over it. They usually have that lock. They unlock it when it's time to take you out. You'll go up, you'll turn around backwards, stick your hands through that hole, and they'll cuff you up while your cell partner is at the back of the cell facing the wall. And then you'll exchange places for him to come out. Next to the door is a big hole. And there's a little basically like a little slab of steel there, basically a door. And then inside the cell, there's two steel slabs that you sleep on, steel bunks that are part of the wall. And then across from that, you have a steel piece of steel sticking out of the wall that's basically a desk, and then a little steel slab next to it to sit on. So you got a steel desk and a steel chair as part of this wall. On this wall, you got two steel bunks, and up against the back wall over here on this side, that's where you set your stuff. Well, that's where the desk is at. Okay, and then on this side, you've got a steel toilet that's connected to a steel sink, and that's all that's in your cell. And okay, in the front door, you got this steel door right beside it's a big hole. What that hole is for is at night you set your cups and stuff in there, so the orderlies can come around and pour your drinks in it. He'll come around and pour your milk first. And you better be up there and get your milk cups out of the way and put the cup back up there if you want coffee, because he won't wait on you. He goes around, he fills them all up with milk, he comes back around, fills them up with coffee. But if you're not there, you just don't get none. And if you want to start some trouble with him, go ahead, because they make sure killers are the rum men. So I'm fixing to learn a lesson about something about the rum men that made a rookie mistake, but I had no idea it was a mistake. But I need to explain how things go before I get there. Okay, so at night when you stick your cups in the bean hole, you have styrofoam cups, which you have, and you reuse them and clean them and use them over and over. And if you don't forget to put a piece of cardboard or something over the top of it, the roaches are so bad. The roaches are about that big. They're like between an inch and a half long, man. They're huge. And you swing at them sometimes with your flip-flop, and they'll dive off and land on the ground and run away before you can get them. And they are big, man. And if you forget to cover your cup, in the morning when he puts milk in it, there's a good chance it'll have a cockroach or cockroach crap in it. And one morning they come around and we have cereal, and you just this little plastic bowl of cereal. You tear the paper off the top, you pour your milk in there and eat it. And the cell was dark, and I didn't want to turn on the lights. My cell partners have sleep. We would eat and go right back to bed. I poured my milk in there. I didn't drink coffee, and I started eating it. Man, I felt a bug in my mouth, man. I did not. I'd already crunched it. And I didn't want to spit it out and see it for sure. So I just swallowed it, man. But I know I swallowed a roach. And it still grosses me out to this day. When you leave McAllister and go to another yard, if you had a TV or a radio, you have to do something to get all them bugs out of you. You'll take them to the next prison and to your cell. The roaches are crazy, and they don't even try to do anything to get rid of them. That's just part of being in McAllister. So if you've caught up with my story, now that I'm down on Seaside, I wanted to let you know what Seaside was. You're locked down 24 hours a day on Saturday and Sunday. Monday through Friday, you get to go out to rec for an hour. And then 3 times a week, you get a 5 or 10 minute shower. And other than that, you're not outside of your cell. The rum men get out of the cell to clean the units and to serve you chow and your drinks. The rum men are out all the time cleaning, so they pretty much get to be out of their cell. And then there's a barber. The barber gets to be out. The guys who work the law library or for the library will be out certain times of days. But you don't get a job until you're around to a C3 or C4. So you start off up on F2 on orientation, then you go down to C1, which is the first unit, and then C2, C3, you get a job. Once you get all the way to C4, you'll be able to put in papers to go back to a medium security. If you've stayed out of trouble, if your write-ups have fallen off, and you've got a job. Okay, but right now I'm on C1. My cell partner's caught out. Romo caught out on me. He went to the guards and told him he was afraid going to get killed, and he went caught out. And they moved a young guy that's only 2 years older than me, Tuffy, down the hill in the cell with me. And me and Tuffy, we get along real good. I had a TV, so we watched that. But his cousin was Alec, and Alec was a homosexual for real. And a lot of them there, they consider themselves men if they only pitch, and girls if they catch. Okay, but Alec, he don't care if he's a boy or a girl. Alec wants to love you, man, and he'll tell you. And he was sweet on me. He was always trying to pay me cookies or give me candy bars when we were asking to get something to eat, because he had a store. Now, what a store is guys who don't get a lot of money in, or sometimes guys that do, but a lot of times it'll be guys with a life sentence. And if you work all month in prison and you go to work every day and work your full hours, you'll get $12 at the end of the month. And they'll take $1.80 out of that for your savings, so that when you get out, you'll have a little money to take with you. And if you have enough built up when you get out that's $50 or more, they'll give it to you. If you don't have enough that you have 50 built up, then they'll give you 50 anyway. But if you work every day, don't miss anything, and you do what you're told, make $12 a month. Minus $1.80 for your savings, so you get $10.20 that you can draw down. And of course, you got to pay sales tax. So you get about $9. Now, a lot of guys, that's all the money that they get. So if you're indigent, if you haven't had any money in a month, they'll give you 2 free stamps a week that you just put free on your envelope, and they'll still mail it out for you. They'll stamp it and send it out. They'll give you some soap and some toothpaste and a little state toothbrush. They'll give you a state writing paper and a state pencil so that you have a way to contact someone. And that's it. So these guys will take that little $9 and they'll go up there and they'll buy candy bars, soda pops, Debbie, stuff like that, cookies, things that they know other people will want. And they don't eat them. They'll do without. They'll sit there hungry and they'll do what they call eating bugs. They do without. They eat whatever comes from the chow hall. They don't eat the food they have themselves. They sacrifice to give it to someone else. And they loan it out, 1 bag of cookies for 2 back, or 2 for 3 back, or 3 for 5, 4 for 6. This is how they make their money. And in a lot of places in prison, people will get you in debt, loan you 4 for 6, and then whenever the day comes, if you don't have it, they don't mind. They'll just tax it 6 to 9, stuff like that. And they'll run it up on you and then want all their money. Not in McAllister, man. In McAllister, if you get something, you better have it. There is no ifs, ands, or buts about it. There ain't no I'm putting extra on it and you can give it to me next time. If you borrow it, you better have it, period. And the consequences are getting stabbed. When I was up on 2 Run, I didn't mention that, but on orientation, before I came down, there was a deal. This one guy, we'll say Bob, owed Jim 2 stamps. It was literally 2 stamps. He owed him 2 stamps he had borrowed to write a letter to someone. And he told him, I'll give them back to you when we draw down. Before he had a chance to draw down, they told him that he was moving down the hill. Okay? Bob was moving down the hill. And he tells Joe, hey, give Jim those 2 stamps you owe me. Okay? Jim owed Bob 2 stamps. Bob owed Joe 2 stamps. He tells him, give them 2 stamps to this guy for me. And he agrees to it. And then he moves down the hill, figuring that's took care of. Well, when draw day comes, Jim tells Joe, give me them 2 stamps that you owed to Bob. Joe says, I don't owe you. I owe Bob. He said, well, you agreed to give them to me. Well, I don't owe you. I owe Bob. So the next day, Jim stabbed Joe over those 2 stamps. Stabbed him 22 times. And he walked to medical, handcuffed behind his back on his own accord, and he did not die. So I seen a guy get stabbed 22 times over 2 stamps. So now I'm down on Seaside, and I should have learned my lesson about the playing poker, okay? But I told you, if you don't go to rec every day, people think you're afraid, so you have to go to rec. So I'm going to rec every day, and when you go outside to recreation, there's a little half-court basketball go. It's all on concrete. And then you'll have guys that just run around this little area. There's a place to do pull-ups and push-ups on a machine. And that's pretty much all that's going on. And then over in the corner, you got a little poker game going. The guys brought a towel out there, sitting down there in the corner. It don't matter if it's windy, snowing, raining. It don't matter, man. These guys are over in that corner on that towel playing poker. And what they do is they take a deck of cards and they mark on them with a magic marker and use them for chips. And whoever's running the house, when you run a poker game in prison, it's not the same as out here. Whoever runs a poker game, he is responsible to make sure that everyone else gets paid. And he's responsible for who he gives chips to. So everyone can't bring all their canteen that they want to gamble with out to the rec yard. Even if it's a cash game and they're saying, I've got the canteen in my cell, then you have to pay the rum man to handle it, to bring it from one cell to the other. But we're going to get to that in a second. So if you want to come out there, you want to play, say you're the house man, and I want $3, then you give me $3 in chips, and someone else wins that $3, you're responsible to make sure that I give it to you and you give it to him. You're also responsible for the pot. Whoever bets money in that pot, at the end of that hand, you get a cutoff of every pot. Whenever the pot's over, if there's $2 to $4 in there, you get a quarter out of that pot. You get 10%, and it's always rounded up. So if there's $2.75 in there, that's 27 cents. You get a quarter. All the chips are worth quarters and $1. So the smallest cut you can get is a quarter. If there's $5 in the pot, the house gets 50 cents. If there's $6, the house gets 50 cents. If there's $7, the house gets 75 cents. And that's how he makes his money. Because there's a lot of hands played, and 10% of every pot, it almost guarantees that the house wins. As long as he isn't getting out there just throwing money away, the houseman's going to win because of the cut. But the houseman is also in a predicament because he has to make sure no one's cheating. If anyone gets caught cheating, the house is responsible for everything. He's got to do the fighting, the stabbing, whatever. He's got to make sure everyone gets paid. So I'm going out there, and there's a little black guy running this poker game, and I end up losing all the cash canteen I have. So he starts giving me credit. And I end up getting in debt to this poker game. I didn't learn my lesson up there on the top. And then once again, they're cheating me, and I don't realize that there's one guy down here playing for the house. And he keeps checking out $10 at a time, and I check out 3 or 5. And every time I get in a pot, he raises me. But he keeps losing, and I'm losing, and the house is winning, or some guy over here is winning. And I'm thinking, how is he, he's losing more than me at least. Come to find out, he's not losing anything. He's playing with them. None of them have to pay. But everything I lose, I have to come up with. And I've ended up in debt to these guys for about $100 on canteen day. But the problem is you can only draw down 40. So I sent them everything I can draw down, but I've got to come up with $60 more. And I don't know what I'm going to do, man. So I'm trying to borrow from people who have stores because I know there are stores on the unit. So the thing I didn't realize is you have to borrow from the run man's store. You can't just borrow from anyone's store. The run man that runs a unit, that is his day room. If you borrow from someone without asking him to go get it and him getting a cut off of it, you're disrespecting him. And I didn't know that. But the only store there is to borrow it from is over on Pod 2, C2. Well, that's where DP lives, the guy that came over there and going to kill my other cell partner. If you listen to the last 2 videos back or the last video, check up on the last couple videos and you'll know what I'm talking about. So DP runs the store over there. But there's another guy named Mike, and he's tried to open up a store over there. So he's kind of undercutting DP without anyone knowing it. So he finds out I'm in debt to these black guys, and I've got to have their money. So he sends word over there and tells me that he'll loan me the $60 from his store if I let him hold my TV. So I said, okay. So I didn't know what else to do. So I said, okay, I'll let him hold TV. So his cell partner was the barber. So they end up getting my door locks open some way with a guard they're cool with. And they get my TV out of there. And they send me this $60 in canteen, and I pay this guy off. But that evening, man, it's a couple hours goes by, and Danny comes over there. DP comes over there and, hey, man, what are you doing? What are you doing giving that guy your TV? What are you doing borrowing from that guy? I run a store over there. What are you disrespecting me for? I'm like, oh, my God, man, I didn't know I was even... This is insane. Like, I can't even get in debt to someone else without disrespecting this guy. But I told you, these guys in here, they're real killers, and you don't have to do anything to them for them to want to kill you. So he tells me, he says, you went over there and got in debt to that guy. That guy's conning you. He ain't going to give your TV back. Even when you send his canteen, he's keeping your TV. They already said so. And I said, if he does that, man, I'm going to stab him for it. Oh, are you going to stab him for it? Are you going to stab him for it? I'll give you the knife. He said, I'll tell you what, man. I see you got a little heart, boy. Don't let your heart swell up on you and get you killed. Because I'm going to tell you now, there's a list of killers here who will eat your lunch. And I'm at the top of the list. And I have a big heart, man. I have a lot of heart. Anybody who knows me will tell you that I'll fight at the drop of a hat. And so that's kind of hard for me to swallow, sitting there and have another man tell me to eat my lunch. But I sat there, I accepted that one. Because with Danny standing there getting on, you feel like a little kid that got caught smoking in church. And you don't want to take Danny to the killing circle. Because you know you're going to end up getting killed. So Danny told me, he said, I'm going to go over there and get your TV back. And me and Alec, we're going to loan you the canteen out of our stores. We're going to pay Mike back. We're going to give your TV back. You're going to pay us both $20 a week. That's your whole draw until you get it paid off, till you pay us off. And it was going to take me like 5 draws. And he said, you're not going to have anything left for yourself, and you better not borrow from anybody, and you better not play no more poker. I better not hear any more of this shit over here about you being in a wreck. I didn't know why he helped me, but I wasn't going to argue with him. So I got my TV back. Then he brought my TV back. And I don't know why he got involved. I don't know why he helped me. I don't know. I don't know because I guess because he wanted the interest. Because when you loan someone $60, you get 90 back. But I couldn't pay the 90 back the next draw. So I was going to have to pay extra because I was going to have to pay it over several draws. So there would be extra added on, added on. So if you borrow 20 for 20, you owe 30. If you borrow 30, you owe 50. But I was borrowing 60 for 90. But I couldn't pay 90 back. I could only pay 40. So that would leave me owing 50, and it would get taxed to 75. So then I would pay 40, and that would leave 35, and it would be taxed to 50. Then I'll pay the 40, then that 10 will get taxed to 15, and then finally I can pay it off. And until then, I can't borrow nothing. And that's to teach me a lesson, unless I want to go get a knife and find out if I'm one of the top 10 killers there. But I didn't want to do that. Hell, I couldn't believe I put myself in that position. But you do things when you're a kid in prison, and it makes no sense. You're just trying to get through it. I can't tell you how terrified I was in McAllister. Every night, day after day. If you know, I was 18 years old at this time when this happened, but 3 years before this, I was sleeping in my mama's house. And I'd never been away from home, not for a single day. I went to church camp with my cousins and my uncles and aunts, but that was it. I'd never been away from home except for with family. And now I find myself waking up in McAllister, man. And in McAllister, you look out those windows and you know you can't get out of here. Most places I was at, I thought maybe there'd be a way to escape. But I'm telling you, in your Oklahoma State Penitentiary in McAllister, there is no escape. And it is the scariest, loneliest, most depressing place you could be. And I'll tell you more about it in the next video. And I hope may God keep and bless, keep, and protect you and yours. I'm sorry, got tongue tied there. And I hope that every day between now and the next video, I hope you'll remember to pick up your blessings in the morning and not your curses. Remember to appreciate what you have. Try not to think about what you don't. And your day will go a lot better. Peace out. See you in the next one.